Hey there guys, so I'm going to go over a series of drills today, which we've done a lot in block 21, in your A series in block 21, where we use the lunge to work on our run technique. Our lunge is very, very similar to running, so it's a brilliant way of getting that brain-body connection, as well as developing the muscles, as well as just giving ourselves a sort of slowed down version of a run to think about everything we want to do when we're running. So for this, you're going to need your thigh band, and if possible, you're going to need a band, a TheraBand attached to a doorknob or something stable that you can pull in from without the thing falling over on top of you. If you haven't got that, don't worry, we've got other options. So we're going to start off just thinking about our neutral pelvis. So doing a few tucking under, relax, tuck under, relax. Remember, our pelvis tends to, if we're just standing normally, we'll tend to be tipping the water out the front, or maybe we're pushing our hips forward and tipping the water out the back. So we want to bring our hips to above our feet, and then we want to just tuck under, draw up at the front, tuck the glutes under, and then relax, tip the water out the front. Tuck under, tip the water out the back, relax, tip the water out the front. If you haven't already done a hip mobility warm-up, definitely do a hip mobility warm-up, loosen up those hips so you can get in here, but I'm presuming you've already done that. Okay, from there, we're going to go into our basic lunge. So our basic lunge, 1 foot forwards, the other foot back, and I want you to make sure that your front shin stays vertical. So we're going to go up and down. I've got squeaky shoes. You're going to go up and down on the floor, keeping your front shin vertical. So you need to make sure your legs are far enough apart. Tendency is that our knee starts going forwards here. So keep that front shin vertical, and then from there, we're focusing on that neutral pelvis. So we're tucking the tailbone under, rather than the tendency being to tip the water out the front. We're making sure we tuck under, keep that neutral pelvis. We're then going to check in on our posture. Imagine you've got a helium balloon attached to the back of your head, not the front of your head with your nose waving in the air, but the back of the head, nice tall neck as we go up and down. Shoulder blades drawing together. And in fact, we can get them going by taking our thumbs facing forwards, out to the side, thumbs behind us. Feel those muscles working behind the shoulder blades. Those are what we want working. Let's swap to the other side. You just swap legs or swap direction. So again, helium balloon up to the sky, shoulder blades coming together. So rather than rounding forwards, shoulder blades coming together, open out the chest, giving ourselves space to breathe. Imagine you've got a bowl of water sitting on top of your head. So you've got to keep that posture, but also that stability through the core. Keep that neutral pelvis. Okay, from there, we're going to go into our hip drop. So standing on one leg, you can stand on a step or just on a book or just on the floor. Standing on one leg, engage the glute, then relax the glute. The glute hips flops out to the side, we re-engage. Neutral pelvis, tuck the tailbone under, relax, re-engage. Now I've done lots of other videos in this series about your hip drop, so I'm not going to teach you how to do the hip drop. Look at one of those other videos if you're not sure what's going on here. And then normally we do that for about a minute or 45 seconds, but I'm just taking you quickly through this series. As I say, we go through all of this in a lot more detail in block 21, the A series, mostly of block 21. But for today, I'm just kind of giving you a recap of them all. So we've activated those hips. Then we're going to go back into our lunges. And this time, we're keeping all that same focus. So we're going up and down, keeping the neutral pelvis, keeping the posture through the head looking straight forwards, not down, shoulder blades together, not rounding forwards. But now we're thinking about stability through that hip. So rather than that knee collapsing in or the hip dropping down or going all funky, we're having to really focus as we go up and down. Swap sides. So if you know you've got a bit of a wobbly lunge with the hips wobbling as you go, try doing that hip drop and then just be really mindful. You have to stay with that brain connecting to the body to make sure that you're not losing that technique, losing that stability. Now, all of this crosses over into our running. If our knees collapsing in, if our hips dropping down when we're running, when we're doing our lunges, we can probably guess that's what's happening when we do our running. So get it stable in the lunge while everything's a little bit slowed down and under control. Get a mirror in front of you so you can see what's going on. And then it's going to be so much easier when you take it into the run. Okay, next drill. Take your thigh band, put it on round your feet, and then you're going into a march. So knee drive up in front, knee drive up in front. As you do that, you want to make sure, first of all, that you're not hitching up. So the work has been done by the front of the hip and you're not leaning back. All the work has been done by the front of the hip. Then just swap, hold for a second or so. So we're working our balance. Balance is key for running. Running is a one-legged activity. So we need to work our balance. We do that lots in other sessions. And we're also working our stabilizing glute. So as we lift up on one side, we're stabilizing on the other side. So we're working the hip at the front, the glute at the back, diagonal pairs engaging. So you should feel those glutes on fire by now. From there, we're going to go up against a wall. So lots of these drills coming at you quick fire now. As I say, this is a recap. Lean into a wall, about 45 degrees. Make sure your core is engaged, so we're not bending in the middle. And then drawing the heel up against the line of the body. So not kicking the foot forwards. The heel is tracing the line of the body. Then start going faster, and the tendency at this stage is either to start to bend, I want you to keep that plank, or to start to have the feet up in front. So we want to keep the knee drives forwards, but the foot comes down to land back where it started. And then into running. Keeping that same engagement. Okay? So again, you would do all of these for a little bit longer. That is working on that knee drive. Now we're going to take that into a lunge. So we're going to keep one foot forward and the other foot back. So still make sure you've got that vertical shin. But now we're working on that knee drive forwards, not a foot kick forwards. If our foot is kicking forwards, when we're running, that will turn into overstriding and the foot's landing out ahead of the body. And when the foot lands out ahead of the body in that overstride, that's when we start getting issues, particularly on our knees, because all that impact is going into the body. So we can get knee injuries, but we're also just slowing ourselves down. We're putting on the brakes. So instead, we want the foot to land underneath the body. So if we get that knee drive forwards, rather than flinging the foot forward, that's going to help. Swap sides. And you might find it's easy on one side and much harder on the other. You might find partly it's hard to drive the knee forwards because you've got tight quads, and that's what's making that foot stick out, in which case get to work on those quads, stretching or rolling. Okay, so walk through your body, all of those cues. Start from the top. Healing balloon, attaching the back of the head up to the sky, looking straight ahead, not looking down. Shoulder blades coming together. Remember, you can do that thumb forward, side back, point the thumbs back behind you to get those shoulders working, or the muscles around the shoulder blades. Chest open, space to breathe. Stable through the core, stable through the hips. Knee facing forwards, not coming in, and then knee drive forwards. All set off from that neutral pelvis. Okay, last one. If you've got that band, you're going to attach it, as I say, something stable, and then start driving one elbow back and then the other. Keep the shoulders low, don't let the shoulders hitch up. Keep the elbow as low as it can be, driving the elbows back. If you haven't got a band set up like that, just put your thigh band over your toes and then come in for a row. Nice and upright with your body. Come in for the row. If you've got a single TheraBand, you could go the diagonals, but otherwise you're just going to be doing that. So activating those muscles around the back of the shoulder blades. Keep going, either on the floor or up and standing. If you're standing and if you've got the right setup, you can be going diagonals or alternates, whatever we call it. Lovely. From there, everybody standing and then into a march. So drop your marching arms, drop the band if you were using one, and make sure as you do your marching arms, you're keeping 90-degree bend at the elbow. So drive back. The tendency is going to be for a lot of people that we fling our arm back. We want to keep the elbow bent, and we don't want to be rocking the baby. So no drummer man, no rocking the baby, but instead this 90-degree bend at the elbow. Think about following train tracks as they come back. Now we're going to put it together with our lunge. So let's just start off. One foot staying stable, the other foot's moving. Step back behind you, knee drive forward. Step back behind you, knee drive forward. Then meet, diagonal knee and hand at the front. and then into that 90-degree bend and drive. Make sure that now it's all got a bit more complicated. You've got to think of balance, you've got to think of coordination. Make sure you haven't defaulted back to that straight arm. Have a look in a mirror, film yourself, or visualize. I think about, imagine I'm really, really crowded, either a crowded bar or a crowded train. Everybody's trying to get in behind me. So I'm jabbing back with my elbows to get myself a bit of space. Now, when I'm running, I don't want it to be as aggressive as that. I want to stay nice and relaxed, but you still want that idea of that drive back with the elbow. Swap sides. Why are we worrying about our arms when we're thinking about running? If you lose your coordination, just stop and re-coordinate diagonals at the front. So our arms are important. If we run with, try going out for a run and don't move your arms at all. Just have your arms down by your side. You'll realize how incredibly important your arms are. Then go into running with your arms straight, like you're doing a speed walk. And you will find you go into a speed walk. Your legs copy what your arms do. So if you've got your legs straight, you'll end up just flinging your legs out straight. So then you can see from that, if you can get this bend at the elbow, we're going to get that nice echoing of the bend at the knee, which is so important, as I say, for that knee drive forward to stop us from overstriding. But also, when we're getting really knackered at the end of a race, the end of a run, rather than thinking, oh my God, I've got to drive my legs forward, think drive your arms. Takes sort of distracts you from what's going on with your legs, and what you're doing with your arms follows through, and you end up improving on your running. So there's some cues. Learn those cues to yourself, not because, well, partly to get better lunges, but also because it's going to help you with your running. If you've got those cues that you can walk through when you're getting tired, when everything's feeling too hard, partly it's going to help improve your running, reduce the chance of injury, help you run faster, but also it's going to help you ground. So when your mind's just going, I don't want to do this, it's all feeling too hard, rather than staying there in that negative thought, just walk through that technique. Okay, give it a go. Let me know how you get on.